Harvard Eye Associates, Dr. John Hovnesian. Feeling blue this morning?
That would be our topic.
That would be our topic, right? So let's talk about blue light. A lot of people hear about blue light. Is it, not too much? You have filters on your glasses, things like that. What is blue light in terms of like the spectrum of light, right? Our sunlight is white light, and that kind of helps with us getting up and getting our biological clocks going and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so light, as we know, is a spectrum. It comes in a variety of different colors. And when we see white light, like these studio lights, they are a mixture of different colors. And really from the visible spectrum, which we can see in nanometers, which are billionth of a meter, they range from about 400 nanometers at the far blue end, bordering on ultraviolet, to 700 at the red end of the spectrum that we can see. Below that is UVA, which goes down to about 315, I think, nanometers.
In nature, we get to see that broken up whenever we see a rainbow.
Yeah, that's right. In nature, that's right. The prismatic effect that comes from little tiny droplets of water that are a quarter wavelength in size splits them up, and we see them in those beautiful colors. So the blue light end of the spectrum has different properties in stimulating the retina than the red end of the spectrum. As we know, we have cones and rods. Cones in the retina detect color. But blue has special effects that can alter the way we behave and sleep.
Okay, so tell us exactly, blue light from our phones, tablets, computers, how does it actually affect our sleep? And I imagine it's not just the only factor.
No, for sure, it's not. That's a great point and question. So the blue end of the spectrum, so particularly, not the farthest end, but from about 350 to about 390 nanometers, is that kind of brilliant blue light that's highly visible, that seems to stimulate what we call retinal ganglion cells in the back of the eye, that slow down or suppress the release of melatonin, which is a naturally occurring hormone that we have that kind of tells our body it's time to sleep. Okay. When our pineal gland and our hypothalamus, take us through the circadian rhythms that we have, one of the things that's released is melatonin, but that's delayed so that people have a longer time falling asleep if they've been exposed to more blue light later in the day, and that's pretty well demonstrated through science.
The fact that our tablets just create blue light as a way that it radiates and emanates the light, that's the spectrum it comes out in, right?
That's right. Whatever it is programmed to do based on what it's displaying, whether it's an image or just text, it has that spectrum that includes, it may not look blue, but it includes some blue light. So that is a driver of, and other sources of blue light. If you have LED lights in your house that are that daylight range, that are, that brilliant white light, that also contains more blue than like these studio lights that are probably 2,700 kelvins that are kind of a warmer light that it would be more incandescent bulbs.
Okay,
right?
You could be our lighting director. So exposure, amount of time, and how bright your screen is probably plays a factor in that too, right?
Yes, absolutely. The brightness of the screen matters, but also the settings on the screen, because you can configure your phone or tablet to display warmer colors that will limit a lot of the blue.
Okay.
And and that speaks to some of the things we can do to help ourselves.
Now, can longer exposure start to cause strain in terms of blue light, constant exposure to it, start to affect our eyes?
Well, and that's a great question, because a lot of people ask about glasses that filter blue light, which have become very popular, right? So we don't think the blue light causes eye strain per se. And similarly, blue light filtering glasses, which have kind of an amber color because they're letting through everything except the blue end of the spectrum, those don't really help with eye strain, according to pretty well done
study. Why did I pay the extra for them?
Well, UV filtering also comes more or less free with most lenses that are plastic. Most plastic materials, they've got UV, and you can pay extra, I think, and you may be filtering a little more of the UV. Okay. But it probably, I'm not sure what you paid for.
Oh my goodness, I didn't want to hear that as the answer. Okay. So if we're having, like you said, the blocking glasses are not as effective as people might think. It's like, hey, we're not blocking all of this. It's still going to maybe interrupt sleep, cause eye strain, even though no matter what kind of filters you got going on?
Well, there's sort of two things we're talking about. So you asked about eye strain. Eye strain and filtering blue light interfering with sleep are kind of two different things. So blue light filtering glasses do reduce the amount of blue light that's entering the eye, and they do have some benefits. Not for everybody. It's a little variable in limiting the the effects that screens have on sleep. But putting that into perspective, several well-done studies on this, meta-analyses where they look at a bunch of studies, have compared what happens if you wear blue light versus what happens if you alter your screen settings.
Okay.
So on iPhone, for example, there's a setting called night shift. Night shift you can automatically set, so every day after whatever time you designate, it will shift the color coming out of the screen, no matter what application you're on, so the colors are warmer. And so you're not getting as much blue, and that is designed specifically to limit its effect on your sleep.
Oh.
So that actually will limit about 93% of the the light for you. Whereas glasses have been shown, UV, or I should say blue light filtering glasses have been shown to be about 33% effective. So 93 versus 33. For me, I'd rather adjust the settings on my phone than wear some glasses that I probably don't need. So are the blue glasses useless or no good? No, and they'll also help you for things other than your screen. But if you're considering the screen itself, the blue glasses aren't doing that much.
Now, does it matter how close you're holding your screen when you're doing stuff? Does that really make a difference? I remember, like when I was a kid, don't sit so close to the TV.
Yeah. So in kids, it may cause, it may drive a little bit of nearsightedness, which is a whole other topic.
We've talked about that before, right? With screen time with kids.
That's right. So in terms of harming your eyes, if you're older and if you can focus on it, holding it closer probably doesn't matter. If you happen to be nearsighted, a lot of people who will take their glasses off and hold their screen real close. That's fine. It's not going to harm you to do that. What the extra light will do, and particularly if it's blue light, is have more intensity on the retina, more stimulation of the cells because it's closer, and it will potentially interfere more with your sleep. So if you do that night shift feature on the phone, you're probably reducing that. Better still, limit screen time at night.
Right.
And use good sleep hygiene habits, meaning try to go to bed around the same time at night, kind of have a routine of wind down. It should not include doing a lot of stuff in bed other than sleeping, because we won't get into extracurricular activities.
You don't need to mention all the things.
What I mean is being on your phone or tablet in bed is a really good way to mess up your sleep. So go do that elsewhere if you want to wind down. And then when you go to bed, all you're doing is sleeping. And that will improve your odds of going to sleep and staying asleep.
Well, the reality is blue light or not, if you're messing up your sleep patterns, you're putting strain on your eyes, right? Because my eyes are the things that get heavy the most. Oh, I'm so sleepy, I can't keep my eyes open. Our eyes need real good rest to be healthy, right?
Well, and that brings up dry eye, which is absolutely correlated with screen time. So dryness of the eyes happens when when the tear film evaporates and we don't have a normal balance of tears. Here's an interesting fact for you. A typical person blinks about 12 times an hour if they have healthy eyes. Now you're going to start blinking and be conscious of it.
I can't stop now.
But that 12 becomes about 3 times a minute when you're concentrating on a screen. It goes way down. So that process of refreshing the surface of the eye, which doesn't just refresh the eye, it also stimulates the tear glands to secrete when we blink, is greatly reduced, and that's why screen time equals dry eye for an awful lot of people.
So overall, from your perspective, is blue light the monster that we've kind of talked about or made it, or is it just it's something that's there that we can simply be aware of?
Blue light is part of the world we live in, but when the sun goes down, that is the world telling us that it's time to think about bed, and there's less blue light unless we create it artificially. So particularly in the hour or so before bed, reducing your exposure to blue light is a really good idea. So set up night shift on your phone. I'm not sure what the feature is in Android, but I'm sure there is one. And in your home lighting, it's probably better to have the warm color lamps than it is those intense kind of bluish daylight color LEDs. And they don't cost any more, and most people think they're more pleasant lightings, warmer tones. Those will also help you wind down and fall asleep.
When you examine an eye, when you look at someone, can you say, oh, there's been maybe too much X exposure, blue light, white light, whatever it might be? Is there a way for you to identify that and see that in an examination?
It's a great question. We're not able to see how much blue light or other colors you see. What we are able to see is cataract, which we know is a real common thing. And here's another interesting, a couple of facts for you if we have time. The yellow effect that happens, the yellowing of the lens in the eye with cataract actually helps filter blue light. Not all of it and not the whole spectrum. It tends to be a little bit lower than the spectrum that's mostly active, keeping us up. Because we lose some blue light, have you ever noticed a little old lady at the store who has bluish hair?
Yes.
she's got cataracts. And the reason is she can't see the blue in the color tint of her hair dye. So when they dye their hair and they pick one that's a little bit blue, they don't see that blue that other people see. And so I always find those ladies who have cataracts and hand them my business card.
He's all business all the time. I like that about him. Harvard Eye Associates, Dr. John Hovannisian, thanks for joining us.
So good to see you, Michael.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.